When I need answers about anything to do with personal growth, I go straight to my mom and my aunt. Here they are, Priscilla Babin and Tina Gilliatt with the Sister Sauce.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sister Sauce. I'm Priscilla and I'm with my beautiful sister Tina, and this is our 18th episode.
Woo! Everybody.
Very exciting. We hope that you guys had a happy Valentine's Day, and we'd love to hear from you if you did any of our hints and tips or whatever we gave last week. Or if you came up with something different entirely that was really good, we'd love to hear about it. We like good stories.
Here's my story is that my husband heard me say on the podcast, though he probably won't buy me flowers because he bought them last week and he knows I won't be surprised. And so I came home from wherever I went on Valentine's Day. I don't even remember. I came home and I had flowers.
Oh,
so that was nice.
That's sweet.
And they're really pretty. He knows I like purple, and they have purple flowers with peach colored roses. Very pretty.
Very nice.
AJ did
good. My Valentine's story is that we all forgot it was Valentine's Day until it was time for bed. And then like, oh, wait, it's Valentine's Day. Hey, happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
I sent you a Valentine.
Oh, that's true. You did. The one Valentine was from my sister.
Yeah, after we talked about smash ups, and they do not sponsor our show, I went out and played around with smash ups and had some fun. So I sent Priscilla a smash up Valentine. That was really cute. It sang your name.
When we were together.
After we talked about not singing our names in songs, it sang Priscilla. Was that a good impersonation of the person singing?
It was. It was very good. Yeah, we had our breakfast on Valentine's Day together.
Yes, we
did. It was Sister Day. It wasn't Valentine's.
No, we got to see our Valentines.
Yes.
With our heart-shaped faces. Do we have heart-shaped faces? Somebody used to tell me I had a heart-shaped face. I'm not sure if that's true.
I don't think mine is.
I think I have an oval face.
Yes, me too. Which may mean yours is too, because we look
and a pear-shaped body.
Yes. Oval.
I definitely have a pear-shaped body. That's a hereditary thing, though, right?
Yes, definitely. Well, you got any hot and spicy hot sauce today, T?
I do. I have some hot sauce, and I'm not angry, but I'm like, really wanting people to pay attention, and it's something that I think is important. We've hit on a few things about people talking about other people on social media and things like that. And a friend of mine, I got to give her credit for the wave of thought that she was going in. Her name's Michelle, and she's a great public speaker and influencer. And she wrote a thing about how disappointed she was with some of the stuff that was in the media, and how people on her social media who are also speakers and trainers and influencers were not demonstrating love. And I thought she did a great job of explaining it, but I extrapolated some of that and put it in my own context. And basically, my hot sauce for today is that if you have any kind of a platform, and people's social media is a platform, so even if you're not considered an influencer, if you have more than one friend on social media, you are influencing people. Everybody influences other people in some way. Now, Michelle was talking about influencers in the big sense, like people who are on TikTok and famous for their videos. But if you are in any type of social media platform, you are influencing people, and you should use your platform of influence to lift people up, not knock them down.
Mm-hmm.
If there is someone who does something you don't approve of, it is one thing to say, I felt like this was handled badly, but to decide that you don't like someone, or that in your opinion, they did this wrong thing. And so they're horrible people, because goodness knows you don't make any mistakes. You're perfect, you little influencer, you. It's wrong. If you don't have anything good to say, and the only bad things you can say about the person or knocking their character, then you should not be mentioning them on your social media. Use your platform to lift people up, not knock them down. And that goes for everybody. Even if your platform is a very small one, use it for good, not evil. That is my hot sauce. How's that for succinct?
Here, here. Here, here. Remember Thumper and Bambi? If you can't say something nice, don't say nothing at all.
I know. I love Thumper.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to speak out against bad stuff, then by all means.
Right.
If you know
I
it's
agree.
evil.
I mean,
but if this is just your opinion, that's a whole different thing.
Well, even almost, yeah, it's hard to say, right? Because sometimes your opinion is that somebody should have been nicer to this other person or whatever, which is probably a good thing. But the difference is, are you knocking someone's character because they made a mistake?
Right.
Now, even if they made several mistakes, you don't know necessarily the circumstances. Like my one friend was knocking a singer, and I almost commented and said, I didn't realize you knew her. But then I said, that'd be sarcastic, so I'm not going to do that. But I did make the comment, people should use their platform to lift others up, not knock them down. And she is an influencer. She has quite a following on TikTok, and it's disturbing to me that she would use her platform for evil, not good. But I agree with you wholeheartedly. If there is a situation, I told you about the Bible study that I'm doing. It's not really a Bible study. It's a daily plan with Rick Warren, and it's got some really good points. And it's all about how you take your strengths and your passions and use your talents that you've been given, these gifts that you've been given by God, to promote self-awareness or to do some good with these things you're passionate about, essentially, right? So if you're a good cook and your passion is the homeless, you could feed the homeless, or something simple like that. It's, I feel like my gift is writing, or one of my gifts, I should say, is writing. And so I could use my writing ability to bring awareness to the issues that I think are important and that I'm passionate about, right? But you can do that without bashing other people.
Yeah. It depends on where you put that focus.
Yeah.
Of what you're disagreeing with or what you're angry about.
Yeah.
And we need to leave people, subjects is one thing, but leave people some room for grace.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah. Have some grace. Yeah.
Yeah.
Goodness knows we are all the recipients of a lot of grace, especially the grace that we get from God, because we're all screw ups.
Nobody's perfect. Nobody's nerfect. That's
Well, I don't know about you, but I was blown away by the letters that we got. I mean, we were getting nothing. And then we got a couple that we addressed directly, and we were going to talk about those today. But then we got this rush of letters this week.
I know. It was so sudden.
Yeah. Kind of wish people would have been less specific in the letters, though, because there's no way for us to address their issues without sort of revealing their identity, but we'll do our best,
And I'm surprised, people that famous are into us.
I know, because clearly some of them, it's like, oh my gosh, I know who this is. And this person is pretty well known, got quite a following. Talk about influencers, right? Well, let's jump right into it. I'm going to read the first letter. I'm going to have to be careful not to mention names, though, because I'm in my head. I've already put the name to this person And I'm thinking, I'm going to go to respond and I'm going to say their name. I'm going to have to be really careful not to do that because we promised not to mention names. But hey, these letters are written in such a way you can't help but know who these people are. So here's the first letter that I'll share, and then we can talk about what we think they should do. Dear Sisters of the Sauce. I kind of like that. Although it sounds like we're hitting the sauce, right? Dear Sisters of the Sauce, I am stuck and I don't know how to move forward. I used to be a bodybuilder and I crossed over into acting and was super successful for many years. Then I temporarily switched careers again and went into politics for a while. And I've had a hard time getting my groove back. I've actually been reduced to doing car insurance commercials. It's so frustrating. I feel like I've been terminated, but rest assured, I'll be back. I just need some guidance. Any thoughts?
Who's it
And
from?
it's signed, Anxious Austrian Actor.
Oh my. Let's see. Wow.
What do you think?
You know, a lot of people do, you know, when they are at the end of one type of career in the arts, they switch to another. Maybe he should write a book.
That's a good idea, especially if so. Anxious Austrian Actor. If you were in politics, you probably have some good stories to tell. Besides being an actor, and it sounds like you were pretty successful. I don't know why you would think that you were being terminated. I mean, at least you have commercials, right?
Yeah.
Although some of them car insurance commercials are pretty cheesy. But I mean, I would say write a book, but also what about just be grateful for everything that you've gotten so far?
Yeah. They don't, but they don't talk about, you know, how old they are. So maybe they're old enough they could retire. They could take up a new hobby. They could try knitting or fishing.
Well, they used to be a bodybuilder, so
maybe they could teach fitness.
We can call this person AAA, Anxious Austrian Actor.
AAA, you can get your Zumba license and start teaching Zumba Gold.
There you go.
That's my advice.
Yeah. So it sounds like Austrian Actor, you've had a lot of experience in your life, and you probably just need to be grateful for that experience that you've had and look for new creative outlets. If you don't feel that you are getting the props you deserve as an actor, maybe get a new manager. But if you want to ignite your career again, I agree with my beautiful and intelligent sister that writing a book is a great way to make that happen. Lots of actors are doing it now, and it can be some type of biography even. Doesn't necessarily have to be something educational, or it can just be a biography. Or is that called, that's an autobiography, right? When you write it about yourself, right? Yeah, I like that. Or what about a biopic, kind of like the one Selena Gomez did? That would be interesting.
Oh, that would be a good one.
As long as you don't have any secrets to tell.
Well, they could participate in one of those Lifetime, or not the Lifetime stores. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Lifestyle. I forget what they're called, but they go through their whole history.
Just be prepared for any dirt to come out, though.
That's true.
God forbid.
They're not always positive. We want to stick to the positive.
But maybe this person was perfect and didn't do anything.
Yeah, or they could finance their own film or TV show.
There you go. And then they get to pick and choose what
contract with Netflix. Well, thank you to the sister sauce at the bottom.
Oh, yeah. I had no idea. Wow. Assuming who this person was, I had no idea he was a fan. I'm so excited.
Or it could be anybody. We don't know.
Yeah, I kind of assumed it was a man since he said he was a bodybuilder. But or since they said they were a bodybuilder. Yeah. But that's true. It could have been a woman. Okay. Moving on.
All right.
Do you
Let
have
me see.
any?
I've got one. Heyo, Sister Sauce, what's up? I have a dilemma. I hope you can help me with it. I used to be on a great TV show where I was the lead actor for many years until I got too famous to stay there and decided to go be a big movie star. I really missed my friends from the show and have incredibly a successful career, but now things are quieting down and me and my wife are getting bored. My buddy Greg keeps changing his mind about rebooting our old show, and I really want to convince him to let us have another go at it. What can I say that will make him get it on? That's what she said. Sorry, habits. Thanks very much. Misty-eyed manager Mike.
Ooh.
Oh, Mike.
Mike.
I don't know. How do you convince somebody to go back and work on something that's kind of already been done?
Yeah, like is it defunct? I mean, is it something that people are still talking about? I wonder.
They have to find a way to make it relevant.
This is
In
true.
today's, and also appropriate to today's climate. You know,
Yeah.
certain
Yeah.
things on certain older shows would not fly now,
Oh,
because
that's true.
although,
That's true.
some older shows were ahead of their time,
I agree.
and you know how we love Ted Lasso, and there's a lot of I want to call it educational, but that doesn't really completely fill the meaning. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's nurturing, life-changing, character building. There was a lot of character building on a lot of older shows, but maybe they could make it a little bit more relevant to today. Maybe he could, if he could come up with some, ideas how to apply that to today, to a TV show today, but with that same cast or format in mind. I bet that might influence his
Sure. And
Greg.
it sounds like he's missing some of the people he worked with, and there's nothing stopping him from working with those same people again.
Yeah.
Maybe his friend Greg, whoever that is, would be interested in creating something else.
Mm-hmm. He can always team up with some of his other actor friends from it and do something completely different, and he'd still get to work with them.
Yeah, sometimes these reboots of shows don't really work out, and then it just turns people off to a show that they previously admired. So you wouldn't want that to happen. But I agree with you that times have changed, and sometimes the plot that worked years ago won't work today. But come up with something new, do something new. That's what our suggestion would be. I think we both agree on that. Good luck, misty-eyed manager Mike. That sounds like a good idea. We hope we have enlightened you. Okay, I got one here. This one is, Dear Sisters, I am a somewhat well-known player of professional sports. My team really did well this season, and I got to play in the big game. I know I'm not the best player on the team. All our guys are good. But I got really frustrated when I wasn't included in some of the plays. I mean, here we are in the most important game of the season, and we're losing. But I'm not being allowed to help. So I got mad and I yelled at my coach. I really love him. We get along great ordinarily, and I don't want to play for anyone else, but I snapped. And unfortunately, the cameras were catching it all. And now everyone thinks I'm a jerk, and I honestly feel like one. We went on to win the game, but victory isn't that sweet since everyone is mad at me. What can I do to make up for this and get everyone to like me again? Signed, famously failing footballer.
Uh-oh. Gosh.
Well, definitely an apology's in order, I would say. And probably, personally, I feel like you go to the person you offended and apologize to them. But when you're an influencer or a professional athlete, as you say you are, probably need to do a public apology so that your fans
Mhm.
will know you're sincere about that.
Yeah. It's like they say, the truth will set you free, but first it'll tick you off. That's a paraphrase. Another Ted Lasso quote. You guys need to watch Ted Lasso.
So here's the dilemma, though. I mean, he could apologize, but then people could just think it's a forced apology or whatever. And what
True.
would you say in that case? I mean, if he makes an effort and sincerely apologizes, then what are you thinking should be the recourse then, or the next step then?
Well, first of all, sometimes you can tell when it's sort of a canned apology,
Yeah.
where it's like, what do I need to say to get people to shut up about it? You know? Sometimes just the way things are worded really makes a difference. And I think if he speaks from the heart, and I think if he does it like a video of it rather than like just writing something out and posting it on X
Yeah,
or
like a
whatever.
Twitter statement, like so many people do. Yeah.
Right. I think it needs to be where you can actually see.
See his face. Yeah.
And
I
then,
agree. I agree.
there's a lot of people say, there has to be some kind of restitution when you do something wrong. Like if you insult a whole group of people, you should make a donation to a fund.
Cause, yeah.
Those people, something like that. But I feel like there's so many situations where that's just so empty. Even that I mean, in a situation where you're really sorry, there is no restitution.
Mm-hmm.
You can't take stuff back.
Well, I don't know about
out
you, but
there.
I'm glad I haven't had to pay restitution for all the stupid things I've said
Right.
or done.
Right. There's that grace thing again, right?
Yeah, great.
So I think the biggest thing is don't do it again.
Yeah,
To me,
learn
that's
from
always
it.
when somebody has wronged me, but they keep doing it. That's when it's like, are you really sorry? Or are
Yeah,
you just trying to get out of trouble this time?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I agree with you. And then, but the other thing is, for you, famously failing footballer, I would say you do what we've said. You apologize sincerely and make sure people know that you're sorry, but then move on, because if once you've done that, what can you do? You can't go back and change what you already did. And it's unfortunate, but as I mentioned during my hot sauce, people want to bash other people's characters. This seems to be a thing lately.
The whole canceling thing, yeah.
Yeah, cancel culture. And so you just do what you think is right and then move on and don't worry about them, because that's all you can do.
Yeah. Yeah. And just keep proving your personal, value through your actions. And it probably wouldn't hurt if he got on a video with his coach and actually had a discussion and apologized to the coach, because he doesn't owe us an apology.
This is true.
He doesn't owe his public the apology, because it might have made people mad, but it was not a personal offense to the world watching. I mean,
I agree.
I'm not really a sports fan too much, but
I think, yeah, I agree with that. There's some need for an apology to fans that he let down, I guess, or like, like kids who admire him. If he said, look, that's not the way to behave. Don't behave like that. Right. Or it's not really an apology. I guess it's just admitting that he made a mistake and saying, please don't do what I did or whatever. Because I feel like it's important when you have people that are in sports or actors or whatever, and they set a bad example. We were talking about that with my husband with the Little League, with the coaches that yell and scream, and they do it in front of the children, and the children learn that behavior. And so I think there's an there comes a time when it's important for these influencers to say, wow, I really screwed up and I hope I didn't influence you in a bad way. So, but I agree with you that he doesn't really owe an apology to anybody but his coach as far as
Mm-hmm.
a specific instance. Yeah.
Yeah. But you're right. Being a good influence is important too. And admitting that publicly that he did something wrong. And it also is a good opportunity to teach other people to give themselves some grace when they screw up.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's good. I like that. That was very profound.
oh, thank you.
You're smart. You must be Beverly's daughter.
Well, let's see if I have another. Let's see. Dear Sister Sauce, my heart is broken. My wife of 27 years told everyone we have been separated for 7 of those years, and I didn't even know we were separated. I even came to her defense and smacked one of my friends upside his head when he mocked my woman's lack of hair. And then she goes and says that we ain't even been together since 2016. I had already forgiven her for infidelity, but I was the one who was punished. People were really mad that I smacked my friend and made fun of me for staying with my wife like a loyal husband should. Now she's saying she doesn't want a divorce, so I keep trying to put on a happy face and be supportive, but my friends keep telling me it's not right. What do I do? Thank you, lovely ladies. Excuse me. Sad celebrity smacker.
Ooh.
Oh my.
Whoosh. Sounds like you got some emotional problems there, buddy.
It's a deep pot of sauce.
I definitely would recommend therapy for you.
Mm-hmm.
Not just because of the smacking incident, but also, I mean, obviously your wife's playing some mind games.
Mm.
And are you still with her or are you now technically separated? I'm not sure about that part. But if you're still
like
with
they're
her,
still together.
do you like abuse? You maybe need to talk to the therapist about that.
Yeah, therapy is definitely needs to happen. And I actually just read an article that might help you, celebrity smacker. It was about, or actually it wasn't an article. It was an Instagram post from a therapist, I think, if I read it correctly. And they were responding to something somebody else had said about marriage, getting marriage therapy, couples therapy after, a lot of stuff has happened, and they said that they don't agree with couples therapy when there is so much that has gone wrong. They think that individual therapy is more important for each of the people involved. And then if you want to go together after that has happened. So I think that would probably be something important. I feel like, maybe you need to weigh how her commitment is and see, it's very admirable to want to be, a good husband and be committed to your wife and no matter what. But also you need to take care of you. We always tell everybody, you hear us every week.
Make yourself a priority. Take care of you. Yep. We say that every week. I agree. It's a sad situation. It sounds like you're in. And as far as your friend that you smacked, I mean, did you apologize to him?
I hope so.
I hope so. Oosh. That's tough. You need to.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I got another one from a seemingly famous person.
Oh my.
And I'm reading between the lines and I'm like really tickled about this one, but I mean, I'm sad for them, but so this person says, Dear podcasters, I am a singer and songwriter. You may not know any of my songs, but I'm told I'm actually pretty good. I like to think I'm a good person. I donate a lot of my money to help others. I am pretty nice to everyone around me, and I always try to be respectful of others. There are always some haters, but for the most part, my press has been good until recently. I started dating a sports professional. He wants me to be at all his games, and while my schedule is pretty tight, I manage to make most of them. But people are so mean and don't seem to like my presence at the games. And the press are loving it. They are saying horrible things. My manager tells me I should just shake it off. And for the most part, I do. But recently, I noticed that it's really upsetting my mom. She hates seeing people be mean to me.
Mm.
Any advice? And it's signed Paparazzi's Pestered Pet Poet.
Oh, that sounds awful.
It does sound awful. And you know what? This person hit on something, and that is how it affects the family members of people who are bashed in the public.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Nobody ever thinks about that.
Mm-hmm.
I was saying to my daughter the other day that if people talked smack about her, I'd probably get arrested because I'm a very protective mama bear.
Mm.
Like, don't be talking about my children.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's sad for her mom. Oh.
Yeah. It's especially horrible with the paparazzi and the news sources and stuff will do these things, and they don't, like you say, they don't care if it hurts the family, but it also sort of encourages the public to act out against the person and their family.
I
And
agree.
it puts them sometimes at real risk,
Mm-hmm.
especially if they spread false stories about somebody and then they have kids or whatever, and the public treats that family badly and they didn't do anything.
And you know what else? But, some of the onus is on the public for not reading the entire article or whatever they see, right? I posted something on Facebook the other day and put a picture with it. And I was shocked at how many of my friends responded in the comments based on what they thought I wrote in my post just from looking at the picture. They clearly did not read my post because it had nothing to do with the picture. I used the picture as an example of something. And it had nothing to do with the person in the picture, what I was saying. So read the doggone article. Give you a perfect example of that. I was scrolling through Facebook the other day and I came across a post that said not Taylor Swift, Kelly Clarkson, wrong singer. Kelly Clarkson, how did they say it? Kelly Clarkson or Sophia, what's the beautiful Sophia Vergara. Sophia Vergara tells Kelly Clarkson to shut up mid-interview, something along those lines, right? And I thought that just does not sound in character for Kelly Clarkson. I have seen her interview multiple people, and she's so precious and so sweet. And I've always told AJ, she is just so adorable. I think I could be friends with her. She could be an honorary sensei sister because she thinks kind of the same way you and I think, She wants kindness to be spread everywhere. So I read the article. And it was tedious to read the article because you know how articles on the internet are written these days. They tell you way more than you need to know about Kelly Clarkson grew up here, and Sophia Vergara grew up here. Tell you all foolishness. It wasn't as bad as some I've seen, but they gave a lot of background information. But I watched the video of the interview rather than trying to read the article, and the video shows them talking about Sophia Vergara's new movie where she plays this Colombian drug lord, a female drug lord, right? And amazed, she must have been an amazing actress in this movie because just seeing the few little scenes they showed blew me away. But supposedly Kelly Clarkson was blown away by some of the scenes and her role in playing that character. But anyway, she was saying to Sophia Vergara, oh my gosh, I mean, couldn't tell that they had done anything really to alter your person, your body, but you seemed like a completely different person. And she's like, Kelly, I can't do a Sofia Vergara accent, but she's so freaking adorable. But she's like, they did all this makeup and they changed my whole face. They put lips on, blah, 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 blah. And she's like going on and on. And Kelly goes, but I mean, you don't look like you. And what Kelly was trying to say was they had done such a good job with the makeup that you couldn't tell that it was fake. It she looked like perfectly normal. Like you couldn't tell it was like her face being restructured or whatever. And so Kelly Clarkson keeps trying to explain it, but she's not explaining it. And Sofia Vergara is laughing and she goes, shut up, Kelly. I sat in that makeup chair for 6 hours and they were laughing together. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And that's the headline. Sofia Vergara tells Kelly Clarkson to shut up mid-interview. They're trying to make people, and how many people read that caption and believed that there was a feud between them during an interview?
2 words.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
2 words. Clickbait.
Clickbait. Thank you, baby. Yeah, so true. And so back to our poor dear writer here. What was her name again? I saw it somewhere. Oh, paparazzi's pestered poet. So, dear paparazzi's pestered poet, ignore them.
Yeah.
Ignore them and tell your beautiful mama to ignore them. I'm so sorry for her. But it sounds like you didn't do anything to deserve the hate. You just went to support your boyfriend at his sports events. I mean, seriously, what's wrong with that? I would hope you would support your boyfriend.
Yeah.
It's like we said last week, people are jealous, they just want to hate on people because they don't have those things. Yeah. Shame on her for being famous and going to her boyfriend's football game.
How dare they?
Haters.
Well, let's see. I think I have one more. Hi, Sister Sauce. My wife and I have a beautiful marriage. Well, that sounds good. We have wonderful kids and wonderful careers. So far, so good. I don't know what they're complaining about. Life just couldn't get any better than this. Why are they writing to us? I don't know. We have, let's see, the problem we are having is that people seem to really want us to be unhappy. They recently, even went so far as to claim that I said I couldn't wait to get divorced and that my wife said horrible things about me. This all came from someone trying to read my luscious and supple lips outside a fancy event. I do joke around with my wife sarcastically, but I love her more than ever. What can we do to prove our commitment to the masses? I don't want to give up being sarcastic, though. It is one of my biggest talents. Thanks a bunch. And it's signed Monogamous Misunderstood Mumblers. Well, I guess maybe you could work on your elocution. I don't know. Maybe, they could take up a class. They could go to a class on what's it called when you have the puppet and it talks for you.
Ventriloquism?
Ventriloquism. There you go. They could learn ventriloquism. That would maybe
they could just ignore it.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously, then let people think what they want to think. Don't try to defend yourself. And then when you show up at the next event together and your hands are clasped and your arms are around each other and you're kissing those luscious lips. You're kissing those luscious lips. Their wife is kissing those luscious lips. Just show them. I want those luscious lips. I like that.
You're obsessed.
Just show them that you are happy. And if they don't believe it, well, screw them.
Yeah.
Just forget them.
Yeah. Go away, haters.
Yep.
Live your life. Hey. Excuse me. Sorry.
What a shame. Some
Oh
people
my
just
goodness.
can't stand to see other people happy.
It
The
seems like
worst.
there's a lot here about other people's opinions.
Yeah. And you know what? When the boys used to tease me, my brothers, when they used to tease me when I was little, mom would say, if you would learn to just ignore them, then you would take away their accomplishment. And I used to not understand that, but as an adult now, seeing people who are trolls in comments, if you respond to them, you give them exactly what they want. So in this case, people are trolls. They're just trying to look for something bad that's not there. And so just ignore them and you take away what's the fuel. You take away the fuel for their fire and then it snuffs out, right? So disgusting. I got one more too.
One more? All right.
And I failed to read a very important PS on our famously failing footballer. He said, this might be a little revealing. He said, PS, the idea of doing a podcast with your sibling is such a cool one, isn't it?
Oh, it really is.
It may be revealing. I'm just saying. All right. So
who's next?
Dear Sensei sisters, do we still call you that? Question mark. You can call us that. We answer to anything. Sure. Especially sensational sisters.
Oh.
Super cool sisters.
Anything alliterative we'll answer to it pretty much, as long as it's nice.
Yes. Sweet and smart sisters. Okay. Here's what he or she wrote. For several years, I played a ruggedly hairy and handsome football player on a TV show that went on to win the hearts of many. I know I should be thankful for the awards we won and the large viewership. I mean, our fans are here, they're there, they're everywhere. And I truly am. But there are so many people who haven't made the effort to watch our show. I worry that part of the problem is my language on the show. I used one bad word in particular, a whole lot. There are even tons of memes with me saying that word. It doesn't seem to bother the people who actually watch the show. They're always friendly toward me, but I can't help but wonder if I'm part of the reason so many people are hesitant to watch. What can I do to convince them it's binge worthy? And it's signed Sexy Pseudo Soccer Star. That's a mouthful. Sexy Pseudo Soccer Star.
That sounds really familiar.
I know, right?
It's too bad you can't, there's not like a, actually I did, here's a real interesting thing. Is I saw there's some kind of app now, and I don't know what it does, but the way I didn't read too deeply into it. I don't know if it's an app or a special channel you can get or something that only puts like the milder stuff from shows through. So I don't know if it edits the cuss words out or if it only shows shows without cuss words or what it is. But wouldn't it be something, and I don't remember the name of it, so I'm not, advocating for it, but what if there was an app you could add to your TV that changed all the cuss words to other safer words? Like, okay, so I love the show The Good Place. And on The Good Place, they're supposed to be in the good place. It's like they're in heaven or whatever. And so there's a cussing filter. So when they're talking, if they curse, it changes it to another word that starts with the same first letter.
Oh, I'll be darned.
So, you might call somebody a bench, or if you really want to curse, you might say fudge,
Well, yeah, I'm not sure that that exists. I would just say that if you continue to speak highly of the show and maybe tell them what's important about the show, like, are there lessons they can learn from it? And what is the whole theme of the show like? Is there some value there? I would say just promote that and maybe tell, if they say anything about the language, encourage them to just overlook it and not overthink it. I mean, I don't want to say that I was a prude because that would imply that anybody that doesn't like bad language is a prude. And I don't think that's true. I think some people just are less comfortable with bad language than others are. And I used to be one of those people. I hated it when people used bad language around me. I guess because we grew up in a house where mom was very clean, articulately. I don't know if that is even a proper phrase, but anyway, mom never used any bad language. I mean, we weren't even allowed to say but or any of the words that kids use for bodily functions and all. So we weren't exposed to as much of it. Dad used a few words around us when he would get mad about something, but they were mild compared to what people say in the real world. So I would say, understand that some people are not exposed to it and are not happy about it, but also encourage them to try to look past it and to see the show for the value it holds. And the only way they can do that is if you tell them what that value is.
They could also find some fun podcasters who might, talk about the show all the time and reference it constantly.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Because then they'd find out what they were missing.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Just some people don't want to give in and watch what we tell them to watch, Yeah.
Maybe there'll be a podcast about favorite TV shows and it'll be in the top 10.
Possibly. Yeah.
Maybe.
Very interesting stuff. I'm just blown away by the letters from such diverse but seemingly famous people that we got today. Just what a group of letters.
Wow.
I hope that we were helpful because then maybe they'll recommend our podcast to other people.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to grow our viewership from 8 to 9 or whatever.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I know we have millions of fans out there.
Sharing is caring.
Unless you're talking about sharing germs, and then it's not. But
that's true.
Not sharing is caring.
Keep your germs to yourself.
That was good. I enjoyed that. Some great letters from and thank you to all of our letter writers for being so alliterative.
Yeah, we love
the names that you chose for yourself. You obviously all are aware of our alliteration addiction.
Yeah. It's very surprising. Oh, goodness.
I would say so. Yeah. Well, we are moving on. And I do believe that you have something you would like folks to marinate on. What is your marinade for the day?
I do. I have a little marinade. I'm thinking it's something real simple, but you never know. You and I might talk about it for another hour.
Like we do everything else, right?
Yeah, it's just an observation I had that I had little things that make you go, moment. Me and my kids were doing some exercises because we were trying to take care of our bodies, and the exercises we were doing, it was not anything real complicated. We were using an exercise video from YouTube. It was a real easy one, and it was only, it was a real short one too, because we didn't have a lot of time and we had kind of forgotten we were going to do it. And then it was almost time to eat dinner and the kids were hungry, and we're like, well, let's do this short one. And we started doing it, and with age comes wisdom and understanding, right? And so I know, and especially because I used to teach fitness classes, I know, that you do certain moves certain ways. There's something important about form when you're doing exercises. You don't just throw your body around. Well, little kids and even a little bit older, a little younger kids don't really always pay attention to that. And the three of us were trying to do exercises, and there was stuff like reaching for your toes or lifting your knees, or turning you twisting side to side. It was all real basic stuff. And well, y'all know my kids' names already, but Clover said to Joey, "You need to do the move intentionally." And can you tell what podcast they've been listening to? You hear us talking about being intentional. And I thought that was an interesting way to phrase, mind your form, was to do things intentionally. And he didn't understand what they meant. And I was trying to explain to him, you're not just throwing your arms around, you're putting them in that position over and over, but you're not just flinging your body around. And I was trying to find a way to phrase it and demonstrate it so that he understood. But then I started thinking, we talk about living intentionally, but that's a really good analogy for it, is minding your form. And if you mind your form in all varieties of things, it makes it more more of a guarantee that you're going to do a better job. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
when
sort of,
you don't just throw all the ingredients at the stove and something comes out.
yeah. Yeah. You know what it made me think of, and I don't want to make this phrase sound like it's a negative phrase, but it's kind of like the opposite of dance like nobody's watching, right? And that means have fun with it and, and do your thing. That's dancing. But when you're exercising, you wouldn't want to exercise in a way that is haphazard or whatever. So there's that importance there of being intentional and minding your form, as you say. And so if you are, especially if you're, this is interesting given the letters that we got, if you are in public, dance as if somebody is watching, or
you need to be mindful,
act as if somebody is watching, because people are, right? And it also makes the outcome better, not just because people are watching you. It's weird because I find myself doing that sometimes if I'm in public. Something that I might have said to AJ jokingly at home, I wouldn't say in public, even if it was just him and I talking at a table at McDonald's or something. I might not joke with him the same way I would at home. And I'm not saying it would be nasty or anything like that. I'm just saying if it could be misinterpreted, I wouldn't do it, right? Like at home, I might pretend to throw food at him, but I would not do that at McDonald's because somebody might think I was really throwing food.
Right.
You know what I mean? So sometimes people take that to the other extreme though, and they purposely put on their stage voice in McDonald's to let you know they're disciplining their children.
I guess that,
that
that's
kills
really,
me. Totally
that's
off
really
topic.
A good point is part of being mindful is you're mindful of your location and you're mindful of what's going on around.
True.
As well as being mindful of what you're actually doing. For example, I do a lot of things, home renovation stuff inside my house, and nobody might be watching. Sometimes it's good to have somebody watching in case I was to electrocute myself or fall off a ladder.
I know you and I have had that conversation. Stop climbing the ladder while nobody's home with you.
Yeah. It's just a step ladder.
It still makes me nervous.
I know.
And I'm like, don't change that outlet cover until the kids are home.
Okay. Well, the cover is not dangerous. The outlet is dangerous.
I mean, I can track your location all I want, but I won't know if your dead body's laying on the floor in your kitchen.
This is true. If you see me leave the house, you'll know I have corporeal form.
Okay.
But I was hanging blinds, okay? Not something I do every day. Something Tina has a little more experience with than me because you used to work at a blind company.
Yes, but I hired installers. I didn't do
That's
it
true.
myself.
That's true. But you're aware of how it's done and different things about
Yes,
it.
I
You
do
know
know
more stuff
that.
about blinds than I do. And like it's something I've been meaning to do for years. We had louvers. Is that what they're called that hang down?
Louver drapes. Yeah, I think
Yeah, we had
louver is
louver
actually
drapes,
the
short ones.
well, no, I was going to say, I think louver is actually a brand name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And vertical blinds, they were.
Vertical blinds. Okay. So we had vertical blinds in our kitchen. We have our windows are weird in our house. They're short and wide, like short height and wide width. Some of the windows, some are normal. There's one window in my kitchen that's a perfectly normal size and shape window, I think. And in my living room, we have a huge picture window, as they're called. And then, but then the other windows, especially on the sides of the house, are these long, not long, but they're like short height and they're very wide, like a big rectangle. And so it's a little awkward. And so all of our all of our blinds that we had bought before were custom. But this one window is the size and shape that it is. I didn't want to get one big giant blind because it's so wide and it's even wider than the one in the picture window that we have.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I was like, that's just too big for me to manipulate. And like, if it just takes up such an area and it overhangs over the kitchen counter. And if there's stuff on the kitchen counter and you try to open blinds that are all one thing, that it gets too crazy. And what if you want to just peek out or you just want a little sun? So I always said, it might be good to have, it's wide enough to fit 3 sets of blinds next to each other. And then you could do them one at a time, opening them. Because it's really 3 windows. It's not one big window. The
3
opening
windows
is
in one frame, right?
right in one frame. It's one
Yeah.
frame, but it's 3 separate actual windows that they put in when we got our
Right.
new windows put in, because it used to be, you remember the old junky windows with the aluminum
Yeah.
in between? And these are the nice ones, and they've got the stuff to block out certain, UV light and stuff like that.
Sure.
And they got the tilt and all of this jam, and I love them. They're good windows. But the vertical blinds we had on them, it was, I don't even know what kind of material it was, but it was this gross, soft material stuff. I don't know what it was made out of exactly. It looked like some kind of weird polyester and plastic blended together, and the strips were not cleanable. You couldn't clean them. They'd fall apart if I tried to wash them, and there was paint on them, red paint in splotches here and there from when we painted the kitchen that I never could get out. And they'd have these little metal discs in the bottom to weight them down. And they were just filthy and ugly and just so 1970s looking, on a metal track with the little beaded chain thing to pull, and
I'm very familiar.
It didn't work. You couldn't open or close them because they kept getting stuck. They kept jamming up. So they weren't functional. They weren't attractive. There was nothing good about these things. And forever I kept saying, I want to replace those, but I kept trying to find one big one. And I realized that wouldn't be a good idea. And then I kept getting overwhelmed with the project, and it didn't even make it on my big board, my big whiteboard. It wasn't even on there. And then one day, like last week, I was like, I got to get rid of those, because I've been painting my trim. So when I was painting that window frame, I was like, these are terrible. They hold all the cat hair too, which is gross. So every time I'd move them back after painting the trim, they would sprinkle cat hair and the cat hair would adhere to the paint. It was
Oh my
terrible.
gosh.
And I was like, these got to go. So I finally measured, got the blinds. They look perfect because they match all my other custom ones, which my son was baffled. He's like, how did you get these that match all the rest of the house? And he's only 12, he knows, that's not always easy. And I said, I don't know. I just found a really good pick and he helped me a little bit, but I'm for the most part hung them up myself. But there was a few times where like I'd do something and then I'd realize, shoot, I was supposed to do this other thing first. So then I'd have to take the blind down and unscrew things granted, after I did the first one, I had my pattern figured out and it was easier to be mindful. But if I had looked at my directions one at a time instead of just looking at the whole list of directions and then just randomly doing stuff, I wouldn't have had the problems I did. And if I would have taken more time and been more mindful, I probably wouldn't have bruised my knuckles all up, bashing the little corners
Yeah.
in.
Well, but you bring up a very good point. So like when you're doing something you've never done before, you are somewhat forced to be mindful.
Mhm.
But you and I were just talking about that right before we got on about how some of the things that you do repetitively,
Mhm.
you do mindlessly at some point because you're so accustomed, you're programmed to do it that way. And then you think, and great example of it last weekend, me dragging and dropping my files in the Dropbox for church on Sunday and then discovering the wrong file was in there because it hadn't saved properly. And now I know I need to be more mindful because I'm sure there was a red X next to that file showing me it hadn't updated, but I obviously didn't catch the red X because I was just dragging and dropping and not really paying attention. So got to be intentional.
Yep. All right.
Well,
So
that
y'all
was
can
good.
think about that.
I appreciate that. So your message is to be mindful in what you're doing and be aware of your surroundings. Did I sum that up okay? Or
Yeah.
all
Perfect.
right. I love it. I love it. Marinate on that, folks.
Yeah.
And you can look forward to next week hearing about what, Priscilla?
Movies we love.
Yes. So many.
We're excited.
I don't think we're going to be able to rank them.
That's going to be hard. We might just have to have a jumble.
Yeah.
Of movies.
Just lots of, if this is what you're into, here's a good one that we like.
Yeah, maybe we could sort them like favorite rom-coms, favorite
genres,
action, favorite things where people pronounce stuff wrong. I don't know.
The funny thing is, lately, I think I've found that I watch more TV series than movies. So I'm going to have to really think about this.
Oh, you got tons of favorite movies, though.
Oh, I do.
They might all be Hallmark movies, but
I might just have to do a disclaimer and say, if it's Hallmark, it's on my list.
There you go.
Oh, well, that'll be lots of fun. But until we are back next week for our 19th episode, make yourself a priority.
Yeah. Take care of you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us. Make sure you subscribe to keep up on all the latest sauce. See you next time.